Hey there, I am Joseph Olmo in for Mark Hall. You are watching DC News Now at noon, and we are following some breaking news as we come on the air. So we're going to get you straight out to Prince George's County now, where we're following the latest on a very messy crash involving two teenagers, one male, one female. We have learned that female teenager, the girl, has died. Let's get you straight out to DC News Now's Katie Ree, who's live on the scene. Katie, this all happening on a busy road in Upper Marlboro. I still see police behind you. Kind of paint the picture for us. What you looking at?
Absolutely. So what happened this morning, it was around 9 o'clock. The police say one car, like you said, that white car that you see, I'm going to step right out of the way, was heading up on the road. They wouldn't confirm the exact speed, but again, there was two people in that car. The female was pronounced dead here on the scene, and then the male transported to the hospital. Prince George's County Public Schools just confirmed to us that they are students, but would not confirm what school they do attend. Now, also, that landscaping vehicle that you see, that was static, that when the teens hit that vehicle. Now, again, there's no exact speed and potentially no confirmation of racing along this road, but one neighbor that I spoke to who witnessed the accident, she heard it. She says that there's a lot of incidences of high rates of speed here on this road, but also of drag racing. And now, again, we are trying to piece together this accident as others and as investigators are doing so as well. The forensics truck just left at the scene a couple minutes ago, but again, you can see there's a lot of damage on that car and also a lot of police presence still here. The road has been closed down for quite a while. Again, this is a very quiet seeming residential area, and a lot of people here have told me that it's not uncommon for people to be driving fast. And obviously, we are going to get you more details as they become available to us. But reporting live in Prince George's County, Katie Ree, DC News Now.
All right, Katie, live there on the scene. Katie's going to be back with us in about 30 minutes, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, it is a busy Tuesday afternoon. We got some more breaking news to get to now, but this time all the way down in Mexico, where we are learning that two U.S. citizens who've been missing since last week have been found dead. A Mexican official has confirmed that the two people from South Carolina were found dead after their violent abduction last week. Two others who were with them at the time were found alive. A relative of the victims has since said that they drove across the border so one of them could get a tummy tuck, a type of medical procedure. According to Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the group got caught in the crossfire between two armed Mexican groups. Keep you updated on that. In the meantime, happening right now, DC police are on the search for this man. His name is Kenneth Phillips, and he's 22 years old. Police say he escaped from custody this morning while he was being transported to Howard University Hospital. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, red and blue underwear. Anyone with information is asked to call police. We have more details on our website at dcnewsnow.com. All right, your time now, 12:03. Concerns are growing this afternoon after that deadly tanker explosion in Frederick, Maryland. The blast on Saturday killed the driver of the truck. It damaged nearby homes and cars, and it's leaving an entire community worried about what comes next and whether or not they have to worry about a toxic threat because of what you're looking at right here. Investigators say the tractor trailer involved in the explosion was carrying gasoline. Additionally, for their part, the Maryland Department of the Environment says they were able to flush nearby drains to remove any hazardous materials before they reached the waterways. But you got people in the area saying they're not so sure about that.
If the design of that roadway or the safety in that corridor had anything to do with this tragic accident and the loss of a human life as a result of that, we all ought to take that seriously.
They need guardrails, definitely for sure.
And I worry about the city water because of all that gas.
Yeah, well, the mayor says funding for the expansion of this road in question has been approved, but the actual construction won't start until 2027. There will be cleanup crews in the area over the next few days. We'll keep you updated on that one as well. All right, your time now, 12:04. An arrest has been made in relation to an assault with a dangerous weapon. This happened on U Street here in D.C. The suspect, Lakeisha Whitley, and the victim engaged in an altercation at this business. Whitley brandished a bat and assaulted the victim. The victim was transported to an area hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. All right, well, a Maryland state trooper is recovering after being shot overnight near the Eastern Shore. The trooper tried to pull someone over along Route 50 near Vienna late Monday night. That's when he was shot, and the trooper fired back. Vienna is about 15 miles northwest of Salisbury. The trooper was taken to the hospital for treatment. Not far away, officers found the suspect's car. When officers approached him, they found the suspect slumped over in the front seat with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Well, meanwhile, this afternoon, we are getting new details about Metro reintroducing something it was built for all the way back in 1976 when Metro Rail first debuted. We are talking about something called ATO, or Automatic Train Operation, and it might just mean a smoother and a quicker ride for passengers. So for those of you who've been living in the DMV long enough, you will probably remember this, the Fort Totten crash back in 2009. It was, and still is, Metro's deadliest crash ever, when one train slammed in the back of another. Now, at the time, it was initially thought that ATO, Automatic Train Operation, was to blame, but after an extensive investigation, it was determined that the automatic train system itself was not to blame, but rather a faulty track circuit that essentially made the train's computers think that there wasn't another train in front of it. Well, here we are over a decade after the crash. Metro has focused on fixing all of the engineering problems that led to this catastrophic failure. And now officials say it is time to bring automatic trains back. Here's Metro General Manager and CEO Randy Clark back in December on the topic.
We are the only transit rail property in the world that has regressed from the technology we started with to where we are. So we ran on an ATO system, which is the way every major safe rail system in the world operates, and we don't operate on that now.
All right, so here's what we're looking at, guys. Right now, the train operators on Metro, they do everything. They start and stop the train, they open and close the doors, everything is manual. But if Metro were to change back to ATO, that would mean there's still an operator on the train. They're not going anywhere. They're only in charge, though, of opening and closing the doors and responding to emergencies. As for actually starting and stopping the train, that would actually all be automated. Metro is set to speak about this later on this week, and we'll keep you updated after that board meeting happens on Thursday. The goal is to have automatic train operation up and running by the end of this year. Well, speaking of Metro, commuters can now weigh in on how the transit agency spends its money. You can show up in person, by phone, or with a video link to this week's budget hearings. Sign-up details are different depending on how you want to participate, so log on to the About section of Metro's website. It's WMATA, WMATA.com, and then click on News for more info. You can also take Metro's online survey and email additional comments for budget input. Well, exciting news for parents. You no longer have to close up your strollers when you board a Metro bus. Previously, parents would have to fill up their strollers before getting on the bus. This new policy comes from customer feedback and discussion with the Accessibility Advisory Council. Metro's general manager joined other employees to give away free coloring books, snacks, and bags to celebrate the change. People with strollers should use the priority seating area, lock the stroller brakes, and be careful not to block aisles or doorways.
The idea is how to make the space work for them, but at the same time really respecting the fact that if someone with a disability gets on board and needs that for a wheelchair or a wheel mobility device, that space will be available for them. So kind of a community respect process to use the bus better for everyone.
Metro bus drivers may still ask people to move or fold strollers if there is a public safety risk. All right, we're going to take you up to New York City now, where the NYPD has released this. This is footage that you're looking at of two people spray painting a statue of Christopher Columbus in Central Park in New York City. The suspects wrote the words "murderer" and "give us our land back" on the statue with red spray paint. The search continues for those suspects. All right, well, over to Montgomery County now. Some potential good news if you are sick and tired of how expensive the rent is there. Leaders are proposing a rent stabilization plan today. That measure would require rent increases to cap at 3% each year. The proposal is led by Council members Will Jawando and Kristen Mink. Once we get more info about the timeline of this bill and when it'll actually go into effect, we will bring that to you with a report during DC News Now at 5 later on today. Well, it is a political saga that has lasted for months, and there is no end there's no sign rather that it's ending anytime soon. We're talking about the push to finally get a revised version of DC's criminal code passed. This is really important stuff, guys. It deals with specifically what criminals go to jail for and for how long. Our Lex Juarez continues our coverage on where that bill stands on Capitol Hill, because remember, even though it's a local law for DC, all local laws in the district need that stamp of approval from Congress first.
Well, the Senate is still set to vote on that bill, and it's scheduled to happen tomorrow on Wednesday. But Chairman Mendelson says that it's not necessary anymore, and he also says it doesn't mean anything given the withdrawal. But legal experts say there is a gray area here. It isn't clear if a bill can be withdrawn ahead of a vote like this. Either way, there won't be much of an effect with the criminal code not going into law at this point. Now, the criticism of the bill surrounds changes made to penalties for crimes like carjacking, and Congress isn't alone in their view of the bill. Mayor Bowser and Police Chief Conti have also voiced their opposition to it, and legal experts say an overhaul of the current criminal code is needed.
I hope we're going to get not only a better bill, a more balanced bill going forward, but I hope that in the process, people will be giving more serious thought to how we reduce crime in the district.
Now, if the Senate does pass the House resolution, President Biden will then sign it. And again, that vote is set to happen tomorrow on Wednesday. Now, as far as the D.C. Council goes, they are going to need to revisit the criminal code before they make any votes on it. In Washington, I'm Lex Juarez, D.C. News Now.
All right, Lex, thank you. Your time now, 12:11. Finally, we get to bring Damon Matson in on the conversation. Damon, good to see you. It's been a while. Cold today outside. My hands were freezing when I was outside reporting this morning.
Well, good to see you as well, Joe. And yeah, it's that wind. It's back once again. Unfortunately for us, we only caught a short break there, but yeah, let's check it out. Those wind speeds are elevated. Look at that. We're up to about the 10 to 20 mile per hour range in most locations here across the DMV. We were very calm and sunny yesterday, but now with that wind in place, you certainly are feeling that chill back in the air as we go into the afternoon. And now on occasion here, we're seeing those higher wind gusts as well. Nothing higher than 35 miles an hour yet, but Leesburg just got a gust of 33 miles an hour, DC 31, and we will continue to see these gusts elevated up to about 40 miles an hour at times through this evening. Now, the benefit of the windy conditions is that cloud cover from earlier this morning, it's gone. We've brought back the sunshine in full force, but here's the other catch with those winds. We're keeping those temperatures on the chillier side. We just hit 50 degrees in DC, but for the most part, we are seeing those mid to upper 40s across the rest of the viewing area as we head through the lunch hour. And as we go through the rest of the afternoon, don't expect those temperatures to climb much at all. Many of us will just end up in the upper 40s to low 50s for those high temperatures, and it's going to continue to remain very blustery. So when might we finally catch a break from these winds? We'll have a full check of the forecast coming up here in just a bit.